Have you ever touched a woman in a way that made her whole body tremble and wished you could do it every single time? Most men never learn how. They go for strength, speed, and performance, when the real secret is presence, rhythm, and awareness. It's not about what you do. It's about what she feels. Today, you'll discover the secret touch that makes her melt, not through force, but through patience, confidence, and mastery. Most men approach a woman's body as if it were a map, a checklist of points to touch, zones to activate, and steps to complete. But a woman's body isn't a map. It's a living landscape, one that changes with mood, with trust, with rhythm. What awakens her today might be different tomorrow. What makes her melt once might barely move her again. Every woman's body carries her own code, a language written in breath, in muscle tension, in silence. And only the man who learns to listen, not rush, will ever unlock it. There's no single formula, no magic button that works for everyone. But there are timeless, universal places, sensitive gates where most women begin to lose control when touched with patience and intent. Her neck and ears. This is where vulnerability lives. The skin is thinner here, closer to the nerves, which is why a whisper, a slow breath, or a gentle kiss can feel like electricity. When you draw close to her neck and let your breath linger, you're not just stimulating, you're inviting. A soft exhale near her ear, a quiet word that brushes her skin. It's the kind of touch that bypasses logic and speaks directly to instinct. Do it too hard or too fast, and she'll pull away. Do it slowly, with curiosity, and her entire body will lean in. Her inner thighs, this is where anticipation lives. It's not about touching there. It's about everything that happens before. The space between her hips and knees is sacred ground, charged with tension. The closer you get without actually touching, the more her imagination fills the silence. Let your fingertips hover, trace the edges, tease the skin without claiming it. The waiting becomes the pleasure. The pause becomes the power. Her breasts and nipples. This is where contrast becomes magic. Every woman responds differently here, but all respond to rhythm. Soft, delicate touches followed by a firmer grip. Warm hands, then a cool breath. This play between sensations builds chemistry and keeps her guessing, because the unknown is what keeps desire alive. Don't just touch, observe how her breath changes, how her back arches, how her lips part slightly. Those are the signals that guide you. The front wall inside her, what many call the G-spot or A-zone. Science still debates what it is. Experience doesn't. For many women, this area, just a few centimeters in, on the front wall, holds a deep, rhythmic kind of pleasure. Not sharp, not frantic. Deep, slow, expanding. When you find it and move with consistency, not force, you'll feel her body begin to answer you, not with words, but with breath, pulse, and release. But remember, not every woman feels it the same way. It's not about finding it. It's about feeling her. Let her reactions lead you. Because here's the truth most men never learn. The secret isn't in your hands. It's in your awareness. Her body isn't waiting for you to press the right button. It's waiting for you to be present enough to feel when she opens. So don't chase the spots. Don't treat her like an equation. Touch her like she's new every time. Like you're exploring a living, breathing landscape that changes under your hands. Listen to her breath. Notice when she inhales sharply or when she goes completely still. That's when she's feeling. Stay there. Breathe with her. Let time slow down. Because the best touch doesn't come from knowing where. It comes from knowing how. Not with pressure, not with skill, but with patience, curiosity, and absolute attention. That's when she stops pretending. That's when she stops thinking. That's when she melts. The most powerful touch isn't something you learn from a tutorial. It's something you feel. It's not about memorizing a set of moves. It's about tuning in so deeply that your body starts responding to hers like music. Most men touch to do something. They're trying to create a reaction, to achieve an outcome. But the real masters, the ones she never forgets, touch to listen. Every gesture, every breath, every pause becomes part of a silent dialogue between you and her body. Start slow, let your fingers explore, not conquer. Move as if you're reading a language written on her skin, one you're learning letter by letter. Touch softly, pause, then return with slightly more pressure. Go from light to deep, from near to far, from stillness to motion. Because contrast creates chemistry. Soft, then firm. Warm, then cool. Silent, then whispering. That's what builds anticipation. And anticipation is the spark of real desire. Your hands shouldn't rush. They should observe. When her breath catches, when her muscles twitch, when her eyes flutter closed, that's your roadmap. Those small signs are her body's way of saying, yes, stay right there. Every exhale, every shiver is a signal, if you're paying attention. And here's where most men miss the magic. It's not just about hands. Your voice, your breath, your energy, they're all part of the touch. A whisper near her ear, your warm breath tracing her neck, your calm tone when you tell her how beautiful she looks. That combination awakens her on levels no physical move ever could. Because women don't just respond to pressure, they respond to presence. When your touch is intentional, when it carries emotion, when it feels guided rather than mechanical, she senses it. It tells her that you're not there to take pleasure, but to create it together. Let your touch have rhythm, a natural rise and fall, like the ocean tide. Sometimes slow and deliberate, sometimes spontaneous and playful. This rhythm keeps her guessing, keeps her open, keeps her lost in the moment. And remember, it's not about control, it's about awareness. When you touch her with full attention, you're telling her, without words, that you see her, that you feel her, that you're right there with her. That's the difference between a touch that fades and one she'll remember for years. Because in the end, the secret behind the touch isn't in your hands, it's in your focus. Touch her like time has stopped. Touch her like she's the only woman in the world. Touch her like every breath, every heartbeat, every moment is sacred. And you'll feel it, that quiet shift when her body stops thinking and starts feeling. That's when she melts, not because of what you did, but because of what you made her feel. Let's be honest, few topics have caused more confusion, myths, and wild claims than the G-spot. For decades, men have treated it like a secret button, a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered, as if one perfect motion could unlock endless pleasure. But that mindset misses the truth entirely. The G-spot isn't a switch, it's a system. It's part of a rich network of nerves, tissues, and blood vessels located on the front wall of the vagina, usually about 2 to 3 centimeters in, right behind the pubic bone. When a woman is emotionally and physically aroused, that area swells slightly, becoming more sensitive and textured. Some women experience it as an intense, pulsating wave, others barely feel it at all, and both are completely normal. That's why the real magic has less to do with anatomy and everything to do with energy, rhythm, and connection. Think of it this way. The G-spot responds not only to physical touch, but also to the emotional state of the woman. If she feels rushed, tense, or pressured, her body resists. But when she feels safe, seen, and deeply desired, her body opens. Your calmness, your patience, and your breathing become the key that unlocks her response. Start with slow, circular movements. Gentle, consistent pressure with your fingers curved slightly toward you. Match her breathing. Feel her body's rhythm. If her breath quickens, if her hips move toward your hand, if she releases soft sounds, that's your signal to stay right there. Not to speed up, not to chase a goal, but to amplify the feeling through rhythm and patience. Now, the A zone, also known as the anterior fornix, lies a bit deeper, at the very top of the vaginal canal. It's less commonly discussed, but can create sensations that feel emotional rather than purely physical, deep, warm, and almost meditative. Some women describe it as a pull, others as a wave that rises slowly and fills their entire body. It's not about stimulation, it's about resonance. The secret, again, isn't hunting for either zone, it's listening. Each woman's pleasure map is unique. Some respond to gentle movement, others crave stillness and connection. Your role is not to find, it's to follow. Let her body guide you like a compass. Because when you're truly tuned in, she'll show you exactly where her pleasure lives and how she wants to be touched. And here's the paradox. The more you try to find the G-spot, the more likely you are to miss it. But when you slow down, breathe, and explore with presence, her body does the rest. You stop performing and start communicating through touch. When you approach her body with curiosity instead of ego, patience instead of pressure, that's when you move beyond technique. That's when she stops pretending and starts feeling. Because the true mystery of the G-spot and A zone isn't where they are. It's how you make her feel while you're there. Foreplay isn't a warm-up. It's the main event. It's not what happens before the moment. It is the moment. Most men rush through it like a checklist, believing it's just a prelude to something more important. But the truth is, for a woman, foreplay is the foundation of everything that follows. It's where trust, arousal, and emotional surrender begin. Start long before you ever reach the bedroom. Desire doesn't switch on with a light. It builds quietly, layer by layer. A kiss on her neck while she's making coffee. A slow hand brushing her waist as you pass by. A whispered compliment that makes her blush when she least expects it. These small gestures awaken her body and her imagination long before your hands ever explore her skin. When the moment finally comes, don't just touch her. Create an experience. Use your hands, your voice, your breath. Let her feel that your attention is undivided, that every inch of her body matters. Trace your fingers up her thigh while your lips linger on her neck. Pause just long enough for her anticipation to bloom. Let your breath skim across her shoulder, warm at first, then cool as you pull back slightly. That contrast, warmth and chill, movement and stillness, is what drives her wild. Add layers, touch and whisper, pause and look into her eyes. Every sense should be engaged. Sight, sound, touch, even scent. When she feels surrounded by your presence, her mind stops wandering. Her control begins to fade, and here's what most men miss. Women don't want predictable rhythm. They want mystery. The element of surprise is what keeps her body alert, alive, and craving more. Change your pace. Mix tenderness with firmness. Pull her closer, then stop. Let the silence hum between you. That suspense is as powerful as touch itself. When her body can't predict your next move, it stops thinking. And when she stops thinking, she starts feeling. That's when control gives way to surrender. And when she's finally ready for deeper, more intimate touch, don't rush. Keep eye contact. Move with patience and confidence. Let her see that you're not trying to get anywhere fast. You're savoring this moment. Every second, every breath, every heartbeat feels intentional. That's when desire stops being an act and becomes a connection. That's when she realizes she's not just being touched, she's being seen. Because the secret touch isn't about technique. It's about presence. The feeling that you're fully there, body and mind, with no distractions and no expectations. When she feels that, her body melts. Not because you mastered a move, but because she feels safe enough to let go completely. The final secret, gentlemen, is this. Presence is more powerful than skill. You can memorize every technique on the internet, watch every tutorial, and even master the so-called perfect moves. But if your mind isn't with her, none of it matters. A woman can sense distraction the same way she senses desire. It's instinctive. The smallest shift in your energy, the slightest hesitation, the flicker of self-conscious thought, she feels it immediately. If you're thinking about how you look, about whether you're doing it right, or about what comes next, you're no longer with her. You've left the moment, and with it, the connection dies. Your touch becomes mechanical. Your rhythm becomes predictable. Your energy turns from magnetic to muted. But when you bring your full awareness to her, her breath, her pulse, her rhythm, everything changes. She can feel it in your hands, in your breathing, in your silence. She can feel that your attention isn't scattered. It's anchored in her. And that's when she begins to melt. Because for a woman, the feeling of being fully seen and felt is the ultimate aphrodisiac. In that moment, she doesn't care about your experience or technique. She cares that you're there, really there. That your touch isn't following a routine, but responding to her. That you're not chasing pleasure, you're creating it together. Presence is the language of true intimacy. It's in the way you breathe with her, match her pace, anticipate her reactions without rushing. It's in the way your body speaks without words. Steady, grounded, confident, calm. Because when you're fully present, your touch transforms. Every caress becomes deeper, every pause becomes electric, even stillness becomes communication. A moment that says, I see you, I feel you, I'm not going anywhere. And that's what makes her surrender. Not because you overpowered her, but because you made her feel safe enough to let go. So remember this truth. The touch that makes her melt isn't about pressure or perfection. It's about awareness. It's about letting your energy lead instead of your ego. When your hands speak the language of patience, when your voice carries confidence without arrogance, when your eyes silently say, I'm here, only here, her body will respond in ways no technique could ever teach. Because in that state, that deep magnetic presence, you're not just touching her skin, you're touching her soul. And once a woman feels that, she'll never forget you. Gentlemen, a woman doesn't surrender to technique. She surrenders to trust. She lets go only when she feels your presence is stronger than her thoughts. So stop chasing results. Start creating sensations. Slow down. Breathe with her. Move with her. Make every touch a message that says, you're safe here. You're desired here. Because when you master this kind of touch, you won't just please her, you'll awaken her. You'll reach the part of her no other man ever touched. Not her body, but her soul. And she'll remember you. Not as a lover, but as the man who made her melt. Completely, utterly, willingly. Subscribe if you're ready to understand what real intimacy feels like, where connection is deeper than words, and pleasure is born from presence. Like this video if you want to see part 2, how to keep her craving you, even years later. And tell me in the comments, what do you think truly makes a woman surrender?